Jordan, Charlie Drayton playing bass, Ivan Neville on Hammond, and Whitey Wachtel was the other guitar player. And they did a video in L.A. they recorded the record in New York. My friend already worked on that record. And they did a video in L.A. for the one song, Take It So Hard.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted, tweed Fender amps from Keith, and just old, vintage gear.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember I was getting married a week or two later. It's 1988. I was getting married a couple of weeks later. We're sitting in the dressing room hanging out, and out of the blue, Jordan goes, Keith, he goes, Jamo's getting married next week. And Keith looks at me, he goes, ha! That's all he says.
That's all I said.
But he was one of the coolest guys. And I remember, and I'm not an autograph guy.
Sure, sure.
But it's fucking Keith, right?
Right, yeah.
So we're there all day, and at the end it's all done, and everything's fine, and they're leaving. So I go up to Keith, and I had the snare drum and the Sharpie, and I didn't even, as I walk up, he's, oh sure, man, yeah, I didn't even have to ask. So he takes it. So he writes on it, and he goes, thanks, man, it was great, we'll see you when we play in town. He goes like this, he's all in the skulls. He's got his rings on shit. So he had a skull on his jacket, and he gave it. So I still got it. It's like, thanks, man, it was great, man, see you later, man. And he leaves. So I look at the drum, and he wrote, to Jamo from Keith.
That's great. Wow, that's super. And you got that on the wall at home, I'm sure.
Well, now it's in a pile with all the other ones, because I sold my building and I moved.
Right.
But yeah, it'll make it on the wall somewhere.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's a fantastic story. Love it.
I go right next to my Dolly Parton 8x10 and my Julio Iglesias one and my Neil Diamond one.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jordan's been a good friend to me and a great client, and always, take care of me. And now he's took over for Charlie.
Right. So.
And Charlie, rest in peace. He was the heir apparent to the gig, playing with Keith, and Charlie told the rest of the band, if I go, he's the guy. And with all due respect to Charlie, I mean, he's an icon. He's been there since 1963. I'm so anxious to hear the band with Jordan because it's probably the best they ever sounded. With Daryl playing bass, and Steve's playing with Daryl a bunch, and it'll be good. I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm glad that they're going on. I saw these people,
absolutely, yeah.
No, I see these people that write, oh, with Charlie gone, they should pack it up. Well, if that's the case, they should have packed it up in '68 when Brian Jones left. Oh, you know what I mean?
Right, I do, yeah.
Sometimes you put it to bed, and other times you keep the fire burning. I know it's going to be great.
Yeah, yeah.
What a player.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing him play some more for sure.
Yeah, that'd be great. So thank you, Steve, for all you've done for me too. A quick Steve Jordan story.
Yeah.
I had a late 50s Leedy kit, 20-inch bass drum, 12 rack, 14 floor, and a 5-amp wood snare. And they were maple, and they had faded. It was like a weird eyeball orange.
Mm.
It was still maple, but it had like an orange tint to it. And if you took the lug off, it was like the copper tone girl.
Gotcha, sure, yeah.
Or you took the head off, and So anyways, Jordan loved these drums, and they were Shelly Mann's drums. So he told me that this song, Peter Gunn, made him want to play drums.
Interesting. So that's what made one play.
Yeah. So, and Pink Panther after that. This was that kid. And Al Schmidt recorded those records. And he's like, I remember that kid, blah, blah, blah. So Jordan used them all the time. So I'm starting to wind down. And I asked Steve, I said, I'm thinking about selling. Oh, yeah, what do you want? And my problem is, I always bought, I never sold. The only thing I ever sold was my custom snare.
Sure.
So I don't know what all this stuff's for. So I go, you know, $3,000 sold. So send an invoice to my accounts. So I do. Two months go by, 3 months, five, 6, 7 months go by.
No check.
No. And he's in New York, and I'm
Sure.
storing all his stuff, his other stuff. And he's good for it.
Sure, sure.
So the Stones come to town. So I'm hanging out at their rehearsal, and Don McCauley was Charlie's roadie.
Mm-hmm.
So he came by my place, and I was showing him the stuff. And I had a gold-plated Gretsch from the late '60s in gray, 5.5 by 14. And I bought it off a dear friend of mine, Clark Pardee. And I grew up with him, and he had moved to New York. I had my collection going,
Yeah.
and I had my 30, 40 snare drums, and this gold Gretsch was beautiful. So he told me, I need some new hardware. I go, what? Selling a snare? I can't remember. I think I gave him $700 for it. This is, you know, 7.4 or something like that. So he, McCauley sees the drum. Charlie's a Gretsch guy. Oh, Charlie would love this. I'll take it on, sure. Yeah. Calls me, hey, Charlie wants to buy it. What do you want?
Sure.
So I go, $20,000 for it, 3 times what I paid.
Sure.
No problem, I'd come by. Coach, a friend of mine who's one of the road managers, cashes me on here, sending me. So I find out they're like $7,500 if you can find it.
Right.
And here's Charlie, you know, the guy can pay you or whatever, you know, whatever. I'm glad Charlie got it. So Don told him about the Shelly Man kit. And Charlie was buying up a lot of stuff, collecting, but now all of a sudden he was at the point where he wanted certain guy, you know, Tony Wynn shit or Chick Webb's drums. He just didn't want a 30s Gretsch kit.
Right.
You know, it had to be
Sure.
something
meaningful.
Yeah, oh, there's a word for it, I can't think of it. So anyways, it's a Shelly Man's kit. So McCauley took it over. He says, I'll give you $15,000 for it. So I called Jordan, I go, hey, Charlie's in town, and I never got paid for that Shelly Man kit, and he's offered me $15,000 for the kit. And Jordan goes, oh, are you gonna do a trump on me? And he kind of guilted me into it, and no, he was a good client, he's thrown me tons of work, and he's a friend, and I mean, with all due respect to Charlie, to be in this thing like this with 15 other drum kits, where Jordan would use them. So I'm like, all right, so I got a check in the mailbox 3 days later for $3,000 for the drum kit. But now he's there, so.
Yeah.
God bless him.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, Jamo, thank you so much for hanging out and sharing your stories with us, and thank you for your contribution to the drumming community. I mean, this is incredible, the rack's incredible, and I can't thank you.
Well, I'm like Burger King. We do it all for you. And thank you for helping me with liquidating my gear and all that. And you know, it's funny, I used to live for this thing. We were on the road, I'd get up at 8 a.m. and go to the pawn shops. And
See what's out there, right? You need more of these for your custom drums, sure.
Yeah, but not now.
Right.
Now I want that new Corvette.
There you go.
And I've been waiting since February. I'm also waiting on Judgment Day too, you know, that's like. But
So it sounds like you ordered one.
yeah, I ordered one in February.
Okay, when do you think you're gonna get it? Next year?
Here's the problem. You can't get, in a Cadillac and a lot of the other companies have the same problem. You can't get the computer chips from China. Well, how do we make our own computer chips like that?
That's a whole nother topic.
Now, why
right
are we
there.
going like
Sure.
this to
Right,
China?
yeah.
It's like, so they can't get the computer chips, they're backlogged on the transmissions. Tremec makes it, it's an 8-speed automatic, but it's got
Yeah.
dual clutches and all this. They basically stole the idea of a Porsche. And like in all those big cars now, you can't get a stick shift,
Right.
they're all automatic. So the thing shifts in like, 13/1000ths of a second, like only NASA can hear that and stuff, right? So they're backlog on the chips in the transmissions. Guy told me at Bowling Green where they have 1,000 of them in the parking lot. No transmissions and no chips. The second the chip comes in, boom, they throw them in and start making noise. So I was supposed to get mine in August, July or August. I ordered it in February. So July comes when I call the guy, and they're getting 5 to 25,000 over the sticker price to buy these things. You can't get them.
Right.
Well, I'm not gonna pay 20 grand more. I'm sorry.
No.
I got 18 other cars
Sure.
to drive.
Yeah.
I got 6 old Corvettes,
Yeah.
but I want them.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I'm from Detroit, I'm not gonna pay that. So I made 2 phone calls. Oh, call Alan at Maddox Chevrolet on Telegraph in Dearborn. I call, I tell him, Steve Adelman told me, oh, yeah, no problem. One of the oh yeah, what do you want about it? He goes, you should get it July or August. So July comes, I go, how are we looking? Not too good. And I feel bad for GM. No, the car, have you seen one?
Yes.
It's awesome.
It is
Right?
awesome.
And so, they come out with the thing. It comes out September 1st. So they start making them. Middle of October, GM goes on strike.
Mm.
So the plant's closed until after Christmas. They finally settle. Oh, great, so they start making them again. COVID hit. So you gotta close the plant down. No, they got like 80,000 orders.
Yeah,
Shoot.
it's one thing after another.
Yeah,
right?
and they
Just-
can't put,
Yeah,
deliver
it's
them.
frustrating.
It's fucked up,
What color?
man. I got it, it's called ceramic gray, matrix ceramic gray. And it's the light is gray, it looks like white with 1 drop of gray.
Wow, okay.
But when you see, at night you think it's white, but it's
Yeah.
gray. When you see it next to a white one, you can see the color difference, but it's badass. And where the door is, they have this big scoop, because it's rear engine. So they have carbon fiber around the scoop to accent the scoop. Well, I want all the body color, and the mirrors are black, so I wanted all that body color, not the black.
Sure.
$900 more. It should cost $900 less.
Right.
No, because when it's coming down the assembly lines, guys like this with a
Yeah,
paint.
right, he's already got it in
You don't gotta put the carbon fiber shit on it.
Right.
You have a thing you can
But
get
it's
it.
custom.
Right.
Ching ching.
Exactly. They have a thing where you can go to the factory and
Pick it up.
drive it off the line and pick it up at the factory. $1,200 to do that. So
Meet
you
and
get
greet.
$1,200 off because there's no delivery charge.
Right.
No, you don't have to.
You're paying for meet and greet there, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. But I want it.
Yeah.
I'm 69.
Get it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Do it, yeah.
It's funny, like I sold my building and I could have rented the thing for like 12 to 15 grand a month in LA. And I'm thinking, yeah, I could live off 12 grand a month.
Sure.
And I thought about it, and it's like, I had to do a will. I got spooked. About 5 years, I've had about 15 friends die in the last 5 years. I'm starting to think I'm like a male black widow or something. No, it was really like, get. So I did a living trust.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
And I never thought about, oh, I got this, I got that, I got this, right? But
Where's it gonna
if
go?
I get hit by a car, Gavin Newsom's would get it, you know what he'll do with it.
Right, no.
So, and all my siblings are fine, some of them are rich. So I figured my nieces and nephews. So I was gonna sell, I was gonna rent the building out. And all of a sudden I thought, I'll die, just sell the thing and go to Vegas.
A party.
Maybe I should go to Vegas.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, you don't get whatever's left.
Sure, yeah.
So I sold it. I got
Good for you.
Got $2.5 million.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like, I'm retired.
Yeah.
See, like, I dig it, but you know, spending $2,000 a month in storage and all that.
Sure,
shit,
sure.
and, you know. Plus, somebody should have it.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
and most of my A stuff is gone, but, you know, what I brought you, I mean,
Yeah.
it's still,
It's good stuff.
restaurants,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, yeah,
good stuff.
yeah.
80s, they're Jaspers, right?
Mhm.
Early 80s, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and oddly enough, you'll love this one. I decided to sell this, are we still on?
Yeah, but we don't have to use it.
Oh, yeah, you
We
can always
use it. We'll probably use it.
I went to sell, and I had, I called them a bank. And what I would do is I'd have all the size basements, all the racks, and all the floors.
Yeah.
So you call, I want a Gretsch kid, I want a 22, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 floors, and I can pull the shit off the shelf and give you what you want. So I had these thermoglass Ludwigs. I started with my first kid. And I added a 26-inch base room, and I found a 22, and I got the small 8, 10, and a 12, and I got 14 floor times, so I have everything. So there's this thing on Facebook, Ludwig Ludwig collectors on. So I put this thing on the picture, and I go, I'm closing my rental business. I've used these drums on 3 cheap trick albums, and the Eagles long run, and you know, over 100 records,
Yeah.
and blah, blah, blah. So, and I was surprised. I got at least 50. Congratulations, man! Thanks what you did for the business. You know, I'm jealous. You know, I said, you know, people
Nice.
said real nice shit. No, and I never even knew these people knew who I was. And you always got the one asshole, right? So I get this kid, and he says, "What documentation do you have?" Like I'm gonna go into like the Stone station. Charlie, I need you to sign this
Right,
release.
right, please.
You know, it's like, come on. So, he writes it down there. And I wrote back, I go, well, I was there. Why would my name be on the album cover if I didn't have something to do with it? About 20 guys popped up. Jeff Porcaro was one. He's the guy. You don't know who you're talking about. He did this, he did that. How dare you question
Nice.
this?
Everybody came to the
this,
plate
that,
here.
the other. No, you love this. Then, an hour later, I get a phone call from Bunny Carlos.
Mm.
You're selling your drums, I'll take them.
Awesome.
So, no, I had rented them to him for 3 hours. I
Yeah.
probably made 5, 7, 10 grand off the rentals. And then he bought them all from me for 10
Wow,
grand.
wow, wow. That's great.
So I gotta write the kid back on the thing that like he's calling me out. And
So,
I said, well, I don't have any documentation, but Bunny Carlos from Cheap Trick just bought those drums that he used on 3 of his albums, so I think they're probably real.